Hello, everybody. This is Bickering and Bison back at it again, and we're going to be talking about the Southeastern Indians. Let's get into this.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brian, and I'm going to talk about the Native Americans and their religion. So, the Southeastern Indians decided to divide the universe into three different worlds. The first world was called the Upper World, as gods like the sun and the moon inhabited it. Monsters and witches lived in what was called the chaotic underworld. Indians and everyone else lived in this world. The Indians saw this world as a flat island floating on water and hanging on four cords, somewhat similar to the flat earth theory. This world was improved and doomed by both fire. Fire is considered the creative force of the universe and a gift from the sun, while disease and death were inheritors of the underworld beings who enjoyed bringing destruction. They also believed in invisible spirits who brought anguish and solace. So the Indians had a ritual, so whenever a loved one died, the Indians would shout and make noise to frighten the spirit of their loved one to go up into the sky. The reason they did this was to scare the ghosts into never coming back, so they wouldn't be able to haunt their relatives. Indians also believed in immortals. The immortals were thought to be friendly beings from the upper world, as in legends, it said that they looked after tired hunters and helped defend villages from violence. And in these legends, they were considered invisible, and if they wanted to be seen, they could just make themselves visible to the people. The five-tribe Indians deduce that the whole universe is perfect and that everything has its own part to play. And as long as the deities are maintaining order, everyone lives in harmony.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kanaya, and I will be talking about the topic school over the Southeastern Indians. So basically, in 1804, the Cherokees were the most receptive to proposals from Christian missionary groups in the U.S. to establish schools among them. The Moravian Fellowship found its spring place in Georgia, beginning a mission work that lasted a century. In 1816, the ABCFM, if y'all don't know what the ABCFM stands for, it stands for the American Board of Commissioners for Foreign Missions. The ABCFM began working among the Cherokees, and they had started the Brainerd School and Model Forum in present Tennessee, where missionaries Daniel S. Buttrick and Samuel A. Worcester became teachers. The ABCFM operated 18 schools among the Southeastern Indians, enrolling as many as 600 students. In the 1820s, the Methodist and Baptist organizations established schools among the Creeks, the Chickasaws, and the Cherokees. The principal educational goal of the mission schools was to teach students to read and write in English. The students learned they thought that the students would learn much faster if they used materials in their own language. So around in 1821, the Sequoia created a syllabary of 86 script characters, and for the Cherokees, it became possible for them to learn much faster using the materials in their own language, making it seem like now that they can read and write in English, so it had enhanced their ability of learning faster and better with the help of the 86 script characters. That is it. Thank you.
This is Tribal Government, recorded by Mia Hastings. The forms and functions of tribal government changed quite a lot under the pressures of white civilization, as well as encouragement from a small group of wealthy mixed-blood Indians. In 1808, the first written law of the Cherokees established a police force that was to find, try, and execute the criminals. This law also made sure that property was passed down through the father's bloodline instead of the mother's, although the mother's was the more traditional line of descent. To build a more efficient government, the Cherokees founded an executive committee of 13 members, and by 1817, the Cherokee National Committee had become a more powerful and independent executive body. About 10 years later, the Cherokee Nation adopted a written constitution that was very similar to America's. and that meant that they created a government with the legislative, executive, and judicial branch. The Cherokees eventually just ended up building a capital in Nuikota in northwestern Georgia, and there they built a 2-story log council house, a 2-story clapboard Supreme Court building, as well as a small log house for a printing press. The capital had a 2-acre public square and 100 lots for homes, stores, and taverns. This capital also had streets that were 60 feet wide. During the summer of 1826, the Choctaws wrote their first constitution. And that constitution provided for a central government with an executive branch of 3 district chiefs and a council of elected representatives. One of its first laws were people ordering the construction of a national council house providing for inheritance through the father's bloodline and discouraging multiple wives. The Chickasaw finally began adopting the idea of written laws in 1829. However, the Creeks and the Seminoles did not start creating a written code of law or establish constitutional governments until after removal to Oklahoma.
Hello everybody, my name is Kenny Wynn, and today we're going to be talking about Southeastern Indian tribes and how they were a part of warfare. Pre-European warfare. Alright, let's go back to a time before Europeans showed up, when tribes in the Southeast, like the Cherokee and Creek, fought wars that were more like neighborhood disagreements. Think of it as battles over local stuff. Resources, land issues within their own communities, things such as that. Now, we're going to speed it up when Europeans arrived in the Southeast. This was a big deal. It changed how the local tribes fought. They got new weapons, made new friends and enemies, and had to deal with diseases that they'd never seen before. All of this mixed together to create a big shift in how wars happen among the indigenous tribes. European influence and Indian removal. So, as Europeans came into the picture during the 18th and 19th century, things really changed for the tribes in the Southeast. The newcomers wanted the tribal lands, and this led to a major shakeup in how these tribes fought wars. It eventually resulted in the heartbreaking Indian removal policy. The forced relocations, like the devastating Trail of Tears, was a really tough time. Thousands of people, especially the Cherokee, were moved against their will. This was a dark past of history, leaving a deep and sad mark on how these tribes experienced warfare. Civil War alliances and adaptation. Okay, so when the American Civil War happened, things got even more complicated than it was for the tribes in Oklahoma. Some were on Team Confederacy, others went with the Team Union. It was like a big mix-up, and the tribes had to figure out how to deal with it, kind of like adapting to a constantly changing game. They had to adjust to different alliances and deal with a bunch of outside pressures. But guess what? The tribes pulled through. It's pretty cool how they managed to stick to who they were, even when everything around them was all over the place. It really shows their resilience. Ending. To sum it up, the story of Southeastern Indian warfare is a tale of strength and resilience. From battles before Europeans showed up to the challenges during the Civil War, these tribes didn't just survive, they thrived. Now, in the present, they're standing strong. The legacy of warfare has turned into a story of cultural richness and determination to control their own future. It's not just history. It's just a reminder that these tribes, the Cherokee, Creek, Choctaw, Chickasaw, and Seminole, were still here, strong and resilient, shaping their own path forward. And now, here is the credits. Kenny, I voiced a part, and I did the video editing. Mia voiced a part. Brian voiced a part. Kanaya voiced a part. So I want to say thank you to all my project mates, because without you guys, this would not have been possible at all. So of course, I just wanted to thank you, but also I want to give a special thanks to a person that isn't here anymore. He was the first leader of the group, and he was part of us. This is Miguel. If you don't know by now, Miguel has sadly left the school, and he has gone to another. But we know for a fact that he's going to watch this. So, Miguel, in the future, whether you're doing a presentation or a project or whatnot, we hope that your group mates love you as much as we did. Thanks, man.